Welcome back, everyone. This is Gino Kubo here at GoIndieNow, and I hope you enjoyed part one of Paddy Terrell. Now, please enjoy part two of Paddy Terrell's interview at GoIndieNow International. And please remember, there's a contest going on, so please enjoy this season's um, themed opening. And remember, the hint is somewhere in the video. See you guys later. Please remember, it's always time to go indie now.
It always happens after dark. Don't fall asleep.
Was
about France, wasn't it? Paris. Was that the one?
the murder mystery. The murder mystery.
Oh, right. Sorry.
And the first one, Amongst the Killing, beautiful book. And I mean, his writing style. And I'm about to order them in paperback, but I want to order them through him because I want to get signed copies of his books. Which brings my next question is, if I don't want to order from Amazon for your book, but if I want a signed copy, do we go through your website?
I'm not sure practically how that can work because I still have to order it from Amazon.
Yeah.
Myself.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is because in the current state of, let's say, staying at home, book fairs are not going to be coming back anytime soon.
Right.
And authors are at home more, which means getting a signed copy of a book from one of our favorite authors, and your fans are going to start to grow. How would you go about providing a signed book or some kind of swag? Would you go through your website, or would you do offer a limited release?
I think if the number of readers did grow and that kind of interest was there, then I would stop being exclusive with Amazon and start going to other distributors where there are printed books.
Okay.
And it would be easier then.
All right.
I mean, at the moment, because of being exclusive with Amazon, that is quite hard because I'd have to order a book from them, then sign it, then send it off. It would be an expensive process, I think.
Yeah. And that's where I think Amazon shot themselves in the foot, in my opinion. Amazon used to run it a different way. They had Create Space, which was their book printer, right? There was the printer publisher, and they would sell through Amazon, and then you can go through Barnes and Noble and stuff like that. It'll give you options. And you could just jump on Create Space and order private books for you at a discount, and they would ship them in a box. But then Amazon removed that and said, no, everything's going to have to go through Amazon now. I think that was a big shot to their foot because it limits what we can do.
Yeah, it does. No, it definitely does, because I would have liked to have given signed copies to my family who are in a different country to me. But really, all I can do is get them a copy to them. I can do that. I can have an author copy go to them, but I can't sign it till I get to see them.
Well, that gives you a reason to see them.
It does indeed. When we're allowed to travel again.
Oh yeah, when we're allowed to travel again, when we are, whenever that will be. I know I'm here in Japan and the emergency has been lifted. But I've talked to, because I teach, and I've talked to some of my students. I'm like, so the emergency is lifted. When do you see yourself traveling? Most of the answers that I get is next year. They're still that afraid of the pandemic and stuff like that. Which in all honesty, you need to take care of yourself. You do. And we all have our own views on what it is. I know there's some people out there that are blaming 5G towers on this. And other people that are blaming, different areas, and everyone has the right to cast their blame everywhere. But the key point is you should stay healthy and stay safe however you feel right. And I know for my own family, we're not planning on any major traveling at least until October, maybe earliest August, but most likely October. you know, that for any travel outside of our prefecture here in Japan, just because I'm not worried about me. I'm in the safe zone per se. You know, in the middle, I'm healthy. I don't smoke. I don't have lung problems. I do have allergies and hay fever, but hey, who doesn't? But my son is young, and my son being so young, he's in the danger zone.
Yeah.
That's why.
I mean, I think it's particularly aeroplanes I'd hesitate about. I mean, I think if there were other ways to travel, but aeroplanes, you do worry because all that air keeps circulating around the plane.
Yep. No, I have a special, like my boss got me in contact and I was able to buy a special filter that hangs around your neck. And it's actually proven to kill 98% viruses.
Wow.
And it creates like this bubble because it's blowing air up after it's passed through its purifier. So I use that, but I would still not fly with it. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I would be like, I would still be self-conscious about that, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, someday soon we'll be able to fly again and see our family and friends and have gatherings and be fun when everything calms down.
Well, we actually went out for the first time for 4 months to friends to eat, have a little dinner party sort of thing. It was the first time for 4 months. It's great.
What did you have? I'm on the meat diet right now, so I'm only eating meat. So I'm envious of everyone else eating. So what did you have?
Well, these were French people, so it started with a kind of mix of charcuterie and asparagus and baby tomatoes and bits of fish and meat and things, which is very nice. And then the main course was it's 2 fish that look like ray. They're not, but they were that kind of shape, the white fish, that were done with little baby potatoes and vegetables and things and rice, and it was really nice. Yeah, it was lovely. And then of course you get cheese because it's French, and you get salad.
Was it a white meat fish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it was probably monkfish.
Yeah, they didn't call it that. I think I'll have to try and remember. I couldn't remember the name, but I'll have to look it up. It was a fish I hadn't heard of. Yeah,
because monkfish is usually white meat and it looks like a ray. And it's very delicate meat. So good.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah. No, I love cooking, and like for my family, I go to Marco Pierre on YouTube, and I get his recipes, and I give it my own twist, and I cook his recipes.
Lovely.
Wonderful, wonderful. Not to be a bore, and not to put our great conversation on hold here, but asking you a technical question. You launched your book recently.
In December, at the end of December.
Yeah. And then you were hit with the COVID, the bug where everything went on stop.
Yeah.
Did you change your marketing way to adjust for the situation, or did you just continue as you were going? And then now that it's easing up, are you planning to change the way you're promoting your book?
Right. Now, this for me is the biggest challenge, the marketing. I'm very much struggling with it, and I don't know whether it's partly due to COVID or other issues, but I had already arranged a blog tour before the confinement started, so I still went ahead with that, and there's a lot of preparation in that, because you are sent questions or have to write articles for each blog, and so that's about 14 days of different things that you have to do. And that, it generated a little bit of interest, but I wouldn't say enormous. I've also tried things like Facebook ads and Amazon ads, but I still get very low take-up on those things at the moment. So I think my current thinking is to try and increase my newsletter size, which is an easier thing to do. And also I'm writing a prequel, which is a short novel, to Lumina, so that I could offer that free to stimulate interest in my writing generally, so that people would go on to be interested in Lumina. And I did start book 2, but that will take me a long time to write, whereas a shorter novel will take less time.
Oh, yes. I would agree. I would definitely agree. And like my book's been sitting there going on 2 years in the editing process, because it's one of those things. And it's one of those things where I look at it and I edit it and I go, I need to pause here, because if I don't pause here, I'm gonna end up throwing everything away because I'm getting frustrated and I'll put it down. And you're planning to write a prequel, kind of short novella, or short story? Which one?
Well, although I think both are good thoughts. So I'm also thinking of a short story. But no, what I'm really working on at the moment is it's become a short novel, I guess, because I've already written 30,000 words. So it will probably be 40,000 words in the end, I guess. And it's the story that one of the characters I mentioned, who has to free herself from the king and battle with. She's the one that could communicate with the wolves. She was found as a baby in the stall of the king's stallion, who was a very, very savage horse, but hadn't hurt this baby. And it was, how did she come to be left in that situation? And so what was her mother? Why did that all occur? And that's what this prequel is about.
Oh, wow. That sounds better than anything I've seen coming out of any movie theater right now. Not to kick Hollywood when they're down, but I'm sorry that for the past like 3 or 4 years they haven't produced much of what I want to see. So, but that's why I really dove back into books. Like I bought more books in the past 3 years than I did in any previous years, just because there's not that much to see.
Television's been really poor during this COVID period as well, so you sort of think, oh no, there's nothing to see. I think like and I promised Joe I was gonna finish his book within, like, because usually when someone gives me a book to review, within a day I've finished the book and I've written a pretty decent review. But with Joe, like there's nothing to watch on TV, so I'm kind of savoring his book and reading like one paragraph at a time. Just because I don't want it to end. I don't want it to end. Because if it ends, then I have to go hunting for another book. So. I absolutely can echo that. I get so disappointed when I finished a really good book because I think I wanted to carry on reading.
So yeah, and it's one of those things, like I'm sitting going like, okay, I'll just read a paragraph today, and I have to, like, I'm done with the paragraph. I have to push the power button off because I want to keep going. I do. Which brings to my next question here, which is, what is some kind of writing method you use besides story that you think makes the reader want to keep reading? Like besides the story, like the character build up or maybe connection somewhere. How do you entrap us?
Straight enough, with the prequel, it's slightly different to with Lumina. Lumina, I think I can have anticipation and wanting to know why and what's going to happen next and how do they get out of the danger they're in. At first, that's hard because you've got to set the scenery and get the characters established and introduced and a little bit of where the world is that they're in. So it's hard to be quite as exciting there. But as you go on, they're all getting into trouble all the time. And so you've got to, I think you want to read on to find out how do they extricate themselves from that? How do they get out of this? And there's conflict and tension going on all the time that's going to lead you to think, oh, I want to know what happens next.
Wow.
I think that's a very important bit. With the prequel, because it's going to be, it's not so much a story of battles and adventures and blah, blah. I'm still working on that. I'm still working on how it would take the reader from one chapter to another.
Oh, of course. And, even Hitchcock says, you all you have to do is show the gun. You don't have to show the murder, and you get a lot more out of that. The bang scares you more than seeing the body drop. And I agree with you. Anticipation is one of those things. From personal experience, I have 10 books under my belt. I'm not a popular author. People don't like my work for a couple of reasons. One of them is because I tend to write outside of the box. I don't follow any straight, like one of my romance novels called Love, right? It's written out of order, out of sequence. The chapters are out of sequence, and it's a diary. Um, and you don't know what's happening until the end. And when you find out what's happening until the end, it's a gut punch. It's a romance. It's a love story. Part two, Kaoru in Love's Shadow, which I didn't put the apostrophe over the S, between the S in Loves, because I wanted Loves to be the name, Loves, not Loves as in possessive.
Okay.
So in Love's Shadow, and that pisses people off automatically. They're like, why doesn't it have an apostrophe here? Like it's not possessive. And that one is written in a straight fashion. And if you put both books together, they're two sides of the same coin.
Right.
And people don't like that I write in that way. My fantasy books, Amber Light, which is a trilogy, is written as a love triangle. So it's romance fantasy. And none of these stick to the, let's say, the rules of romance, where you have to be all butterfly and kisses. So people don't like me for that, but I don't care. I write because I love to write, which brings me to my next question. Why?
Why write? Yes. I sometimes ask myself that. Yeah. Particularly as I struggle writing the first draft of a book. You know, many writers say, well, they like that part. And certainly you see on the internet people who claim they write books in a couple of months and things. I think I couldn't do that. I absolutely, it's kind of tearing it out of myself, the first draft. I'm fine after that. I like enriching it and editing it and moving it about, and I enjoy all of that, the improving it. But actually that first raw creative part I find is, you know, tough. So I do wonder, why do I write when I'm going through that? I think because I love reading, I love the enjoyment. I didn't write for a long time because I thought it had to be perfect, and that stopped me writing. And then I grew out of that and understood that it was okay to write a story that was just a story people could enjoy. That's an adventure, and it didn't have to solve the problems of the world. Although there are some themes in it about race and about values that I think enrich it, but it doesn't have to be a classic. I mean, I hope it is a classic, but you know, I was putting too much on myself by saying it has to be perfect.
Wow. And yeah, and I think people do. And then when we finish our interview here, I will show you something that I did that got me over that hurdle of thinking that it had to be perfect. But we're about to finish here, which with our final little request here is, what would you recommend to somebody who was starting the book now and didn't know where to turn to?
In terms of how to write the book or how to publish the book?
Take it your way.
Take it. I think the challenge of writing a book was very interesting, and yeah, how do you decide how to plot it? How do you decide the pace of it? How do you write it in a way that will stay interesting? I think all of those things you do need to get a bit of advice or read about a little bit to stimulate your own thinking of how that works, because I'm not sure that you'd guess it all. So, you know, I think there are theories and tips and research about writing that does help you think, this is a good way to go, and this is a way that just won't work. And it's a little bit hard to explain that, but at first you think, well, how do I know if the pace is right, or if if the plot is tortuous or I don't know.
Well,
So, and I read books that helped me think it through for myself in a way. You know.
No, I agree. I agree with you right then and there, because when I write my movie scripts, I go back to the scripts that I've read. I have books that are just scripts. I go back to only two. There's only two books that I bought that are on screenwriting. One of them is Save the Cat, and the other one is How to Write Movies for Fun and Profit, and the fun is crossed out. Everything else is just actual scripts. Like I have one of my favorite in my collection. I bought. It's appearing in my collection. Indiana Jones.
All
Bound
right.
copy of the screenplay. Bound copy of the screenplay. And it has in the back, it has pictures from the original that were taken behind the scenes. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and I keep this. And I know I should take care of it more, but I'm never gonna sell it. It's one of my treasures. So,
Yeah.
So I just toss it there, and when I need to refresh, I pull it up. Do you have anything like that?
No, I do. If I want to refresh, I think I tend to start to read one of a new fantasy if I can, to just so that it gives me back the enthusiasm of it somehow. But for an example, actually, I was just thinking of a good example. When I came to write battle scenes and action, I thought, well, what do I know about battles? And how do I write a battle scene? And so I did then read battle scenes that people had done in books to give me some feel for, this is the way that you could write a battle scene. And in the end, when people read Lumina, one of the things they comment on are the battle scenes at the end. But I took a slightly different way, which was to have just different perspectives from different characters all the time. So you're seeing all the different characters as they're playing out their part in the battle and what's happening.
Wow.
Because I didn't think I could be the type. A lot of male fantasy writers write set battles and very complex armory and maneuvers and things, and I thought that probably won't work so well for me. So what I want to be is in the mind of all these different players as they go through this battle.
Wow, that's very nice. Thank you very much. Okay, and we're going to be finishing now. So all your links are going to be down below. Everyone, please check out Paddy Terrell. Okay, and check out all her links. And when this goes live, your short might be done as well. When this goes live. It's going to be in the summer of this year, of course. So for everyone else, this is from the past talking to you in the future. Please remember, it's always time to go indie now.
Cardápio?
When you wake up, you don't know if you're still in a dream.
Rule number 1 of the theater.
Sometimes you want to stay in that dream. A dream that becomes your reality.
Yeah. I mean, just enjoy yourself. You're in a new environment. Maybe you're looking too hard. Go and explore. And then you might find something new that you didn't even know you were looking for.
저 의심하는 거예요?
뒤통수 맞는 기분이 어떠냐?
It starts with a woman who dared to change her life. A stranger plunged into a glittering world of squalid glamour. Things would have gone differently for a lot of people if she hadn't.
Somebody help!
Cat is gone! Cat is gone! Give us a sign!
Ce que je veux, c'est la rencontrer, qu'il y ait une sorte d'illumination, qu'il y ait quelque chose d'exceptionnel qui se passe.
La bête est là, elle n'est pas très loin, elle n'est pas très loin de nous. C'est son corps, c'est son dos là qui se soulevait.
On cherche l'animal là.
Je t'ai déjà dit qu'en Afrique, il y a des choses qui vont au-delà de l'entendement, au-delà du palpable.
Pour moi, ça a toujours été un rêve, de voir cet animal pendant des années. Et bien là, ce sera la fin du rêve.
This drug is insane. You see your own future.
Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue.
What can you see?
Limang ka ni AVAKAS. Taliban ako po.
Nanuha sa tanak ti.
Is it what you were expecting?
You know that was nothing like what I was expecting. There's different dialogue, different actions. I'm completely lost most of the time.
Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take.
If you could have heard his screams. I need help! Please?